don't have to
hello.
log in because it's through one camera. You just need to hold the mic, the one there. Do you need an internet connection?
There's a lot of background noise.
I'll be perfectly honest with you.
Test.
You don't want a smart shower?
I haven't opened the smart underwear pitch yet. I'm only going to open it if I'm still here on Friday.
Actually, Steve, maybe I should have the Spartan underpants.
Is that the one where it's like it's like keeps you from getting your
men's boxers
junk radioactivated?
Essentially a wire mesh.
Because that was a thing at Digital
Just to prevent
Experience or CES
radiation.
unveiled.
Yeah.
Junk monitoring system. Use your highly eloquent.
It was like men's, boxer briefs, and they're like, it'll save you from Wi-Fi and radioactive waves. There's like, why is it only that part, and why is it only for men? It seems like.
Because your eggs are protecting all that stuff.
But like, you're not only gonna get like sickness in your groin if you're going to get like.
It's because.
I know. I know. It's a nightmare.
Hello, everyone.
Yes.
You mean power?
No, I don't charge.
Charge.
Give me.
Oh, if you need a,
Power. Okay.
do you need a power brick, or not power brick? Do you need an extension over there, Tom? Power strip.
Do we feel good about our levels, or are we waiting for Patrick and then doing that?
No, we're waiting for Patrick.
Okay.
Then we'll go through it one more time.
Hi.
I mean, they're pretty good.
Good. Nice to see you again. Good to see you.
And I'll stay up real close.
Make it in.
Hey,
Okay.
sorry,
With any luck, this is going to
And Roger, can you hear our levels
a
too?
bunch of stuff.
I can't hear you. Say something.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you now,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's low.
Okay. I'll turn myself up. How's that? Is that better?
It's not good.
Nah, it's still. Let me see.
I mean, I can hear myself real good.
Yeah, play the sound, the song. Are you playing it? You hear it? I don't hear it.
I hear
Okay, now I hear it.
Right being like this.
Yeah, it wasn't playing before.
I was playing. I could hear it. I don't know why you couldn't hear it.
I can hear it. No, I just heard it then.
All right. So, can you hear Sarah?
Sarah, say something.
Hey, Roger, it's me at CES.
Yep.
And I'm going to talk pretty much at this level and at this volume.
Talking.
And with
Cool.
this amount of gain and attack. And I've been using a lot of audio editing programs. So this is how I talk now.
Attack it.
Okay. Is that good, Roger?
Yep.
Allison?
You going to handhold? Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the No Silicast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com.
Move a little, like half an inch closer to the mic.
And,
Allison?
and be able to read the notes. There's the trick right
Or
there.
I could turn her up. Do you need me to turn her up?
Just a little
The
by a
only
hair.
problem is I can't focus on the screen if I'm this close.
Keep talking.
I'm going to talk about right here. That's where I'd be really comfortable
Good.
talking.
Right
Okay.
Mr. Norton.
Aardvarks are delicious, whether braised, stewed, or put in a single pot cooking. Would you like me to talk louder, or
Maybe a hair, not louder, but just maybe turn them up just a hair.
Turn him up.
I get closer to the microphone? Is that better, Roger?
No, not
Is it?
close.
Yeah, have you taken some pictures?
You just start the microphone.
Crop out. Are you taking pictures
All
of
right,
our
Patrick,
underpants?
talk.
Hi, my name is
Talk
Patrick
about
Gordon.
the
We're at
magic.
Daily Tech News Show in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Central Broadcast Tower, which is not actually in the Central Tower, nor does anyone know where the Central Broadcast.
All right.
Cool.
It is in Central.
It's central.
That's about it.
part right.
It's
We have a lurker.
That
the best-
actually
what's
says
the best
tower
word
on the
for
other
it?
side of
Sometimes
something.
they talk too, and it's like,
DailyTechNewsShow.com/live.
they're like, no, they're like talking to just on the other side of this wall. It's like part of their stage, but it feels like
And that's
they're
why we have
about to
lids on our
jump down and
cups,
join
isn't it?
us.
Me screwing up that screwing up your ability
Oh, man.
This is going to go great, Tom.
Your life flashed before my eyes.
Your life.
Fortunately, I was too busy like grabbing it to think about the.
No, what it was is like, cap. Okay, good. That's what went through my head.
Wait a minute. Did we ever ask Tom to be the godparent of our children? Because if he kills me now, shit's gonna get complicated.
Oh, yeah. Can he beat the Godfather from prison?
All right, 5 minutes, folks. 5 minutes. Drink
5
them
minutes.
up.
5
You don't have
minutes.
to go home, but you can't stay here.
You just can't do much.
Oh, I did it right. There we go.
So you'll be introducing yourselves.
Okay.
Usually we like to say where you're at, but that might get redundant.
Oh yeah, we did. You could say I'm sitting next to Tom. I'm sitting next to
That'd be pretty funny.
Patrick.
Yeah.
There are no feline here.
And so the quick hits
Oh.
will be just me and Sarah kind of blowing through this kind of collected stuff. Then we'll get to the stuff we're going to discuss.
I've seen like the tech spot benchmarks for the Microsoft stuff. It's interesting to look at. Probably don't need to cover it that much, but the older your processor get, the worse it's going to get.
Yeah, this is the stuff we're not discussing.
Yeah.
So, do I need to add anything to it?
No.
Okay.
I just didn't know if you wanted to talk about it.
No, with this one, I'm like, let's just
I
give.
got sleep last night. So I'm confused.
Let's just put this into quick hits
This
because
is a
we've
lot of
talked
content.
Spectre and Meltdown to death.
This
And
is a lot.
this is the stuff we're.
Here's my
on.
second favorite product, the
Ooh,
256
I want to see it
gigabyte.
for real.
Oh, that's pretty.
I saw it behind a glass case.
Wow.
Hey, that's cool.
Where'd you get that from?
How many
Western Digital,
gigabytes?
256.
256
Wow.
gigs. Look at that, Steve.
It's a teeny tiny.
256 gig. Wow.
If only any input in my MacBook Pro would allow it.
They're working on a USB-C version.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, swallow that.
You could put that in your ear and nobody'd ever see it.
All right, folks. Everybody ready?
And it would look ever so stylish.
Ready?
Are
Sure.
you doing a thing?
We got a couple minutes.
Where's the coffee?
I'm just
No,
doing the
yeah,
ready.
no, I'm.
Ready
I am.
/ ready check. SP Sheridan is not.
Yo,
napping.
estoy listo.
What?
How do I get a picture into the chat? There's got to be some way I can link to that.
You could upload it to anywhere
Twitter?
and then put the link in the chat. Yeah, totally.
All right. Okay, Steve. Steve's view.
If you got a one sentence.
Oh
thing
no!
on
Is it dripping in here?
TechSpot did the benchmarks last week.
Yeah.
It was they had those hit.
No, we talked about those last week. Yeah.
And there's nothing to add.
All right.
You know what I mean? Because technically it's like.
What a-
Yeah, we're like the opposites. We're the mirror universes.
I take this off Wi-Fi so that my MacBook will not ring when those people call me during the show, which they will.
Oh my.
Are you going to be coming over to our event? We have the most amazing smart light bulb with integrated.
If
Wish it
only
was that.
it were something like that. No, it's people who want to sell me healthcare. And like it's gotten to like the point where they're stalking me and it's really weird.
Jeez.
It sounds awful.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
awful.
I have to call at some point. I have to call Covered California because
Yeah.
they auto re-signed me up for a plan I walked away from. When
Ah.
somebody in like the Medicaid office in Alameda County decided to pull my wife and children off of our plan in December of last year
Oh
and
dear.
leave them with no coverage.
Ugh,
Uh,
nightmare.
So, and I already thought I was dealing directly with Kaiser, so I had to limp along until I could switch over to Kaiser, and then Covered California is like, congratulations to your new plan, which is $300 more than the one I had directly with Kaiser.
Oh, I should put it on the
What?
Facebook page.
Oh man.
All right. I'm ready to go.
I am also.
Then I'm gonna do something pretty snazzy here.
Hey, should I start on a shot of the floor?
Yeah, sure. All right. 3, 2.
Daily Tech News Show is powered by audience, not outside organizations. To find out more, head to Daily Tech News Show.
This is the Daily Tech News for Tuesday, January 9th, 2018 from DTNS at CES in unincorporated Clark County, Nevada. I'm Tom Merritt.
And I'm Sarah Lane.
And I'm Allison Sheridan.
And I'm Patrick Norton.
And we are at CES 2018, and we're still alive.
We're still alive.
It's day one, Tom. Don't get cocky.
I know it's day 3, 4, and 5 for most people, but the show is actually open today, so you won't hear any honking horns.
You'll just see a lot of folks
You'll see
walking
a lot of people
behind
walking
us.
by.
And
Yeah.
if you're listening to audio only, you'll just wonder what's happening.
What are they talking about?
We're near a lot of audio booths.
Yeah,
so
there's
this
always
is
a lot of
just
music playing.
there's
Yeah.
it's
Good
just sort of
jump.
it's the
Thanks
fun
to
of it.
the efforts of our producer Roger Chang, who is here as well.
Hello.
The video version has a nice shot of the floor, so you can see people walking around out there. But let's start with a few tech things you should know.
Microsoft Windows head Terry Myers wrote a blog post describing how the Spectre Variant 2 patches will slow things down for at least some Windows users. Now, if you're running Windows 10 on Skylake, Kaby Lake, or newer, the slowdown is in the single-digit milliseconds, not much at all. Windows 10 running Haswell may notice a little slowdown. Windows 7 and 8 on Haswell will notice slower performance.
And AMD users may notice an entire pause. Microsoft has paused Meltdown and Spectre security updates for AMD machines after a bunch of users reported booting problems, UI elements like the start button disappearing. Microsoft says it's documentation from AMD that was wrong, and that caused the problem. They're working on a fix to get machines bootable again. In the meantime, if you go to Microsoft's site, you can find a workaround.
Cheddar is reporting that Facebook will announce a smart display called Portal for video chatting, kind of like the Amazon Echo Show, I guess, in May and possibly at the F8 Developer Conference. Cheddar sources say Facebook plans to sell the device for $499.
Facebook's Hugo Barra announced the Oculus Go. The $199 headset announced last October will use Qualcomm's Snapdragon 821 processor, and Xiaomi is the hardware partner and will make and sell a China-specific version called the Mi VR Standalone. No release date was announced for either of those.
Sources tell the information that political pressure caused AT&T to back out of a deal with Huawei to sell Huawei's phones in the U.S. Huawei will still go ahead selling phones in the U.S., but without a specific carrier.
Dell officially announced the new XPS 15 convertible featuring the 8th gen Intel CPU Radeon RX Vega MLGL graphics card complete package, as well as Windows Hello support. Available in April, starting at $1,299. A stylus sold separately will cost you $99. Dell also created a new app called Mobile Connect for managing Android and iOS texts and calls on your PC. Yes, Patrick.
Maglev keys.
Oh, right. There's a magnet under the keys to
come
make
on.
it feel like
I
it's
kid you
traveling.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes really fast.
Exactly. It's amazing. I mean, from a geeky engineering standpoint, they're talking about like a 30% reduction in the key size. It's crazy
Wow.
or depth.
China's Vivo is officially the first smartphone to claim it's using a fingerprint sensor under the main display itself. Vivo uses the new Synaptics optical sensor, which uses gaps between pixels on an OLED display to scan your unique print. Synaptics and Samsung were likely working together for the Galaxy S8 last year using the same technology, but didn't have it ready in time.
And the Wi-Fi Alliance, the folks that certify products for Wi-Fi compatibility, is working on a replacement for WPA2 called WPA3. The Alliance says WPA3 will simplify the process for configuring devices without a display. It'll add individualized data encryption on open networks. That would be a big improvement. And add a 192-bit security suite aligned with the Commercial National Security Algorithm, the CNSA suite from the Committee on National Security Systems. Devices with WPA3 should start arriving later this year, and then it's up to individual manufacturers to update old devices, which they would have to recertify to get WPA3. Now, here are some more top stories.
All right, everybody. This is a big one. Google announced that it's working with JBL, Lenovo, and Sony to launch smart devices with something called smart displays. What could that mean? Later this year. They'll handle things like Google Assistant normally handles things. Plus, Google's going to open a platform for developers to write their own actions. You can also get the same notifications that you were getting in Google Now, and you can cast videos to the displays as well. Lenovo will charge $199 for its 8-inch version, $249 for the 10-inch smart display. No price info from JBL or Sony yet, but JBL will start selling its version this summer. That's what it says anyway. Google Assistant's also coming to Android Auto, headphones from JBL, LG, and Sony, and more Android TV makers. Google is also launching a directory page for Google Assistant at assistant.google.com/explore if you want to find out everything it can do now.
So let me make sure I understand this. This is a small smart display that can actually play YouTube.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
the
that's
idea?
one of the big advantages over the Echo Show.
There you go. There you go.
Talk about strategic errors. I saw the Lenovo one yesterday. You know, you can do it in portrait mode. You can do it in a landscape mode. It's very, very stylish. It's one of those things where you're either going to love it, you're going to be like, I need this. Why? But but it's
For
pretty.
some people, people are liking them.
Yes.
They're liking those little displays, and I don't get it. The Echo Show, people love those things. I don't understand it.
All I know is
anyone who has one.
I know 2 people with them, and they're nuts about them.
You
Mm-hmm.
know me.
Because look,
Oh, sorry, Tom. You don't count.
Hi, I'm Tom.
You're
I love your
the
work.
normies. I don't know any normies for the Echo Show.
Tom's borderline normie.
I play one
within
on
a given
TV.
definition of borderline.
No, but okay. So Sarah, here's the
Yes.
question: Is
Okay.
Google winning the Google versus Amazon? We want to put our voice stuff in everything.
Well, I'm glad you asked, because as we talk about all this Google news, and there has been quite a bit. I mean, Google's really been, kind of the partner to talk about at CES. We should also mention that Amazon Voice Services, Hisense, is bringing the woman's name, who shall not be named, but you know who we're talking about, to select 2016 4K smart TVs. LG has a skill for its TVs. Sony is expanding Android TV support. Panasonic is putting AI into its in-car entertainment systems. And Toyota said that its cars with the Entune 3.0 or Enform 2.0 in-car systems will get Amazon voice support also later this year.
I think this sounds all really cool, but I have this overwhelming sense of doom of now they're inside my house, they're inside my car.
Mhm.
It's
Who's
everywhere.
Inside your
The
television.
robots?
It's either going to be Google or it's going to be Amazon.
Amazon.
In
Oh,
LG's
They
case,
own
both.
everything.
And both, and
Both.
that was the thing. Is like, we have Google support. Oh, and we do Alexa too. But it seems like all the big vendors are trying to hedge their bets in a lot of ways. And I think this is going to be a big hot mess for consumers next year.
What's beyond any shadow of the doubt is nobody's talking about Siri integration at all. Nobody's talking about HomeKit. We actually talked to a company the other night that is, their big thing was they were one of the first HomeKit compatible companies, and they didn't even bring it up when they talked to us. And we said, well, don't you do HomeKit? Oh, yeah, we do that too.
Interesting.
Not in the conversation.
Razer's concept hardware for this year's CES is called Project Linda. Now, you can start to throw stones at Razer for always having concepts and never shipping them, but they say they do this on purpose. They're like, yeah, we put our concepts out at CES, see how people react. Sometimes we don't ship it at all. Sometimes we break it up into parts and put it into other things, and occasionally it turns into an actual product. Project Linda is a laptop form factor dock for the Razer phone. The phone docks where the touchpad would go. So your phone then becomes the touchpad. It also becomes the fingerprint sensor and the power button to turn on the laptop and the speakers. So the phone gets used in this laptop dock. The dock on its own will provide 200 gigabytes of extra storage, some batteries, and of course that larger display and the keyboard. I love it. I've been wanting this for forever, like since the pad phone from Asus, like years ago.
I'm sure it will be a wonderfully useful device that'll bring a functioning Android experience to a laptop in a way that won't make you weep.
That's possible, yeah.
I think these are always going to struggle, though, because you've got to have this phone with this dock.
Yeah.
And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, you've narrowed down what's a huge market into the 8 people that have that exact combination. And it could be fantastic.
But you just place it and it becomes the touchpad, and then you press a button and the dock just
I get it.
It goes in. You don't have to line it up.
Your phone is your
Beautiful.
laptop. It snaps in. It becomes super functional. You've got a keyboard, and all they have to do is make Android work in that environment.
It
That's
works.
all they have to
It
do.
works fine.
They did.
It's fine. It's fine.
Tom, I think it's cool.
Thanks, Sarah. Now that you've met me, I appreciate
like
your
you.
support.
You're
We
bonding.
should hang.
As for launching products, Razer has the Razer Mamba Hyperflex mouse and power mat. Now, the cool thing about this is it's using their Hyperflex magnetic field to deliver power in real time to the mouse rather than charging up a battery, so it can be lighter. It's priced at $250 or 280 euros, launching Q1, coming to market at the end of January. Our gaming speakers that range from $100, that's the Namo, to $450 for the Namo Pro with THX 2.1. So Razer is showing some products that they intend to actually ship too.
Always a plus.
Yeah.
Also, just great names. A
Namo.
Mamba Hyperflex.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that is pretty genius.
1.21 gigawatts.
They're not the first and only company to do the, on-demand power like that. But
Right.
I like this trend. I like the idea that my wireless power devices don't have to carry around their own battery.
Lenovo announced.
Like, no.
No, I like
I need
wireless
a battery.
I'm curious to see what happens if you accidentally game your way off the side of a table. Does it have enough reserve charge inside of there
Oh, off
to get
the
you
max,
back?
yeah.
Like,
Disappears.
yeah. Well, I mean, stranger things will have happened.
Good thing to test.
One thing to test.
Lenovo announced a self-contained VR headset called the Mirage Solo, based on Google's Daydream VR platform. It uses Qualcomm Snapdragon 835 VR chip, 4 gigs of RAM, and claims 7 hours of battery life. The play space diameter is 5 feet and the same motion-sensitive remote as other Daydream headsets. Price is $449 to go on sale in Q2. What do you think, Patrick?
They're actually hoping to ship that at $400. I got to play around with that yesterday. It's nice because if you ever use a Daydream headset, you have to open up the thing. You have to stuff the phone in. There may be cables to plug in. It's a wicked ripping pain in the ass. And this one is just it's got all the guts built in. It's got all the screens built into it. Super easy to use, super responsive. The really cool thing, in some ways, I think, is the other thing, which I will not read.
Oh, the next thing, the other Mirage that Lenovo announced.
Oh, well, I guess I will then. Lenovo is also launching a point-and-shoot camera, and it's not like 1995 again, or even 2005. No, this is point-and-shoot, but it's the Lenovo Mirage camera, which has 2 fisheye lenses that can stream 18-degree VR video, as well as take photos. Videos and photos can be saved locally or be uploaded to YouTube, and Google Photos also launching in Q2 for $300.
So their theory was that it's a wicked ripping pain to make 360-degree VR experiences. So they basically created a stereoscopic camera. There's no panel on the back. You shoot and you get a 180-degree hemisphere.
Right.
So you get something that has a sense of depth and it's immersive. There's no turning around because there's no there. But it's also considerably smaller, considerably easier to process, and you're not sitting there with like 19 GoPros and a crazy aluminum rig and then spending 19 hours processing to create your 3D video of the Christmas tree for grandma.
I am really glad you elaborated on that, because the text we were looking at said 18 degrees. And I'm thinking, what is 18 degrees? It was 180. Right?
Did I say 18? Sorry.
Well, you read it exactly as it was.
Well,
but it was,
it's that 18. That wouldn't have made any sense at all.
I don't know what you're talking about. It
There's
says 180
I totally
now.
don't understand. Oh, my bad. My
18,
bad.
but there's 2. It'll be great.
No,
36 degrees.
I love the 180-degree thing, because one of the things Lenovo said, I don't know if they said this to you too, is a lot of people just don't understand where to put a 360-degree camera, and we tell them like it doesn't matter, and they're like everybody gets
but
hung
I want to
up.
turn it around.
Like and like people don't look behind them anyway. So I wonder if this doesn't make 360 video, or rather 180 video, take off a little more, because people will be able to say, oh, okay, I can put this up against a wall, and then I get this cool 3D video. It's like a stepping stone to bring us from flat video to 3D.
I wish it was 60 frames per second instead of 30 frames per second. But, I mean, literally there are 2 buttons on it. There's a, micro SD card slot. You can recharge it. It's if you can hit a button and point something in a general direction, you're golden. Or you can put it on a tripod. Yeah. It's really easy to use.
Now, Sony had their announcement yesterday that was 25 minutes long. Their press conference was very, very compressed. They did a great job of packing it into a small amount of time. Yes, they added Google Assistant to 7 new models of their headphones. They announced the MDR1 AM, which can play back music at 100 kilohertz. That's coming at some point in the spring for $300. Showed off some new OLED TVs that'll broadcast sound from within the screen with support for 3.1 channels of audio. They call it acoustic surface. So this is something that a lot of TV companies are trying to do, is get rid of the speaker below.
They showed a TV doing that last year, and Robert Heron was still talking about that 10 months after he saw it.
And so we bought one. We bought one on his recommendation.
Do you like it?
Yeah. Well, we've already got a receiver with surround sound, so we haven't actually used it very much. But it did sound okay.
Okay.
It sounded pretty good.
That's good. That's a much better answer than that bastard. Is he here yet?
Finally, though, what Sony did show off to make everything okay was the new version of the Aibo, which looks more like a real dog than the original Aibo. It can recognize its owner's face. It does facial recognition. It has OLED eyes, so they're very expressive. Responds to voice commands just like a real dog. Tell it to sit, it'll sit.
Well, depends on the dog.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's not like a real dog.
I know. It'll cost
there.
Or they don't eat. No, it'll cost 198,000 yen when it comes out in Japan, only coming to Japan. And you have to pay a monthly service fee of around $26 a month, which hilariously, I think it was the TechCrunch article said, I mean, I guess that's like paying for really expensive dog food. I don't know.
Well, and vet bills.
Yeah, vet bills.
Your vet bill.
Yeah, or $1,300 cat.
Yeah.
It's cute, though. It's a really cute little toy for somebody who wants that.
Well, it's very specific. It's a robot, right? So it's like, if you want a robot and you always want a dog, here you go.
Yeah.
Got to take your one. It's also a flight to Japan to get it.
Unless you live in Japan.
And learning Japanese commands.
If you're lucky enough.
Yeah.
I don't
How do you
know.
say
I'd
sit in
get one.
Japanese?
I don't know. Hey, folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines in each day, big thanks to Rich Struffolino, who's been filling in, getting those to you every morning. You get about 5 minutes of headlines, and you're up to date on everything you need to know. Go subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com or find us on the Amazon Echo, the Google Home, or in the Anchor app at anchor.fm. All right. Let's talk about the other keynotes. Intel CEO Brian Krzanich did not skirt the Spectre meltdown issue. I mean, how could he? Told the crowd at CES he expects more than 90% of processors will have updates for Meltdown or Spectre by the end of the week. That jives with what Intel's been saying for a while. The rest will get updates by the end of January. So, I mean, we've been talking to ourselves to death about Meltdown and Spectre. But
Did he talk about the stock sale?
yeah, he did not talk about his suspicious stock sale. He didn't do anything controversial here, but he kind of had to address it, and he did it, right? I mean,
That makes sense.
pretty much all there is to that. As far as cars go, Intel is going to put 100 of its own vehicles. Now, they're buying the vehicles like a bunch of them are Fords, but they're their vehicles with their autonomous car system out to try. 2 million vehicles from BMW, Nissan, and Volkswagen will be using Mobileye, which you remember Intel owns Mobileye now. Mobileye's Road Experience Management Tech, or REM, will work on crowdsourcing data to enhance its maps. They're working with HERE to build the maps into car systems. And in China, Intel's going to work with SAIC and NavInfo to develop level 3, 4, and 5. 5's the one where you don't need anybody else but the passenger in the car using the Mobileye system. So
Let me guess, 2020. Everything's in
no,
2020.
they didn't put a date on it, but yeah, since they didn't put a date on it, we can only assume it must be 2020.
Yeah,
That's when
obviously,
everything's coming. Nothing surprising in the car announcements, right?
Right. It's there's so many companies right now that are doing autonomous technology. Why not Intel too?
Yeah. Well, and they want to be. They're like, that's where people are going to need chips, and we don't want to.
I know, but they said that
we don't
about
want
the
this to
Internet of
happen.
Things, and they said that about phones before that.
Well,
I
They
want to
didn't
say
it
those
about
more.
phones fast enough, I think, is where
Yes.
they're at. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they basically have been losing this massive fight to AMD for that stuff, and now they're in a position where you don't really need that small or that power hunger is not a particular issue in this environment. So I'll be curious. I wish them luck.
AMD
Or
or
ARM, pardon me.
Yeah, different A. But I got you. I knew what you meant.
My apologies, audience.
Now, Loihi is the newest Hawaiian island that is still being built up and is not yet broken through the surface of the ocean. I don't know if that's what Intel named its neuromorphic chip after or not, but it is called Loihi. And it's now doing simple object recognition in the lab and headed to research partners in 2018. So you got a machine learning platform coming from Intel. There's also Tangle Lake, which is their quantum processor. I mean, how could it be named anything else?
Nice. I love it.
Tangle Lake, 49-qubit quantum computing test chip now being shared with research partner QTech.
Wow.
And Ferrari North America is going to be using Xeon processors and the Neon TM framework to transcode, identify objects and events, and stream the experience from races to fans, so that you can see what's going on with the car. Anything else on those? No?
Nope.
No? Chips, more chips. All right,
Chips
let's talk
and everything,
VR.
Google Assistant and everything.
Let's talk VR. Intel Entertainment Labs is going to launch a 25,000 square foot studio, but a 10,000 square foot volumetric capture space in Manhattan Beach. That's just south of Los Angeles. Paramount is its first partner. They're not the only ones doing this. Amazon's doing a similar thing in LA. Microsoft's doing a bunch of this kind of stuff. But
why?
Intel has VFX artist and designer Diego Priluski, who worked on Prince of Persia, Clash of the Titans. He was part of a company called Replay that Intel acquired. So he's kind of their in-house guru on this stuff. And they want to partner with movie studios to create cool VR content using this volumetric studio space. They built a whole western town in there.
Wow.
So this isn't for people to go in and play.
Well, unless your name is Paramount.
Oh,
No.
okay. Okay. That's what I thought you were talking about. I was thinking, is this today's laser tag?
No,
Is
this
that
is
what that
for movie studios to
Okay.
shoot VR stuff, like higher quality VR stuff, to try to improve that. They're also partnering on VR coverage of the Olympics, and they're no longer be calling their technology 3D, as much as I chuckle every time I used to say it. It's now called True View, which sounds way more Intel to me.
Yeah. It does make you giggle. I think it's a big problem.
Yeah. So overall, how you grade Intel on their announcements yesterday? I'm giving them a B minus. Like, These are all
Nothing
things
you're
they had
gonna-
to announce, but nothing really.
Nothing you're going to run home.
But there's
and say,
there's quite a bit of volume, especially since Intel has been dragged through the mud a bit.
Volumetric.
I didn't even do that on purpose. And I don't know, it's kind of good timing. They obviously have been putting a lot of stuff together. Especially the Olympics are about to start too.
Yeah.
So on the VR front, that's sort of a nice boost. That would be one of the places that I'd be most interested in something like VR, even more so than regular sports,
Right.
just because they only happen every few years. And yeah,
Let's take a look at Samsung. Samsung, and not part of its CES announcement, but they announced its forecast of a record Q4 operating profit of 15.1 trillion won, up 64% from a year ago. So,
Wow.
so everyone must be happy, right? Well, no. Analysts expected it to break the record even more. They expected them to have 15.9 trillion won. So people are disappointed. Samsung was able to set the records that it did because it sold a lot of DRAM chips, higher DRAM chips, and had strong sales in their other sectors as well.
Right.
They didn't suffer. Analysts believe the strong won, so the exchange rate didn't help, as well as the fact that they gave a bunch of year-end bonuses, may have caused them to miss the analyst expectations. But we'll find out more about that when they actually release earnings at the end of the month. Let's talk about televisions.
Why? It's not like Samsung wanted to. Oh, wait, did I say that out loud?
Intelligent TVs, not smart TVs,
Uh,
Patrick.
Oh.
And they have Bixby built in with a guide that tries to highlight the programs you like and put those in front of you. You can log in through your smartphone. You can pair your smartphone so it can tell you, like, oh, your favorite program's starting, and you can start the program right from your phone, as long as you have a Samsung phone.
Is Bixby still a thing?
Yeah, Bixby is now a thing. Like it's gone beyond just the phones. Now it's in.
Okay.
They're putting in another device.
You remember what a roaring success Bixby was in Samsung phones? Now it's going to be a roaring success,
it didn't
helping
show
you
up
to
for
manage your
months and
intelligent
months.
home life.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And they're also going to be a Smart Things app. They're really pushing Smart Things out into their
Intelligent
ecosystem
things.
as well. No, Smart
Oh,
Things
smart thing.
is their home
I'm sorry.
system. Intelligent TVs will be able to use the Smart Things app.
an intelligent design is something else.
Right, so it's something else entirely.
Well, I mean, it's funny because like TLC was talking about they're supporting smart things and the open spec for this. You mentioned before, like what happened to HomeKit.
Right.
You know, because nobody cares about HomeKit anymore.
Oh,
when
whether we care or not, nobody
Yeah.
who's making anything cares.
yeah, and it's messy, and it looks like it's going to be a really messy couple of years, especially if the software updates keep showing up slow and less and less and less and less.
Now, they also have Smart Things Cloud and your smart fridge, because there's always a smart fridge at CES.
I've seen 3 so far.
Can work with Smart Things Cloud. It's going to recommend recipes based on the user and what's in the fridge, like smart fridges.
If you manually take the time in to enter the expiration date for everything you put inside your refrigerator, if we can't get that information by scanning it, you'll be able to take advantage of.
If it was if it was in the barcode.
Yeah, but is it in the barcode? That's the big question.
The expiration date may not be. No,
I don't think
they
so.
could. If they could do that and the fridge was scanning everything,
So-
it could say, hey, that meatloaf's looking a little nasty.
I think it should just be able to tell just by sniffing.
Well, I mean, it's funny because they are all in on getting as many of their refrigerators to be smart as possible, which means I think in 2 or 3 years, it's going to be really hard for me to buy a refrigerator because I will not buy a refrigerator with a computer inside of it.
Just real quickly, Samsung also doing an automotive camera system with collision warning, lane departure warning, so they're getting into that business. They've got what they call the digital cockpit
Yeah.
that personalizes any car by pulling profiles from your Smart Things Cloud or from your phone.
They bought Harman Kardon recently, and then they basically bought it for all of the automotive intelligence in there.
And the 55-inch Samsung Flip whiteboard.
It's really cool.
This is their version of the Jamboard or the Microsoft Surface Hub, and
Yeah.
it's cheaper. It's $2,700, which is a lot. But the Jamboard's $5,000 and the Surface Hub is $8,000.
You can tell it seems like the people from that particular department built this for themselves and then realized it was a product.
And they're
That's what
like,
it
"Hey, this is
feels
really
like.
good."
It
Yeah.
works really well. At least the demo worked
the
really
NFC
well.
tap, where you tap your
Mhm.
phone and then you can control the phone from the whiteboard because the whiteboard's a touchscreen.
Right.
You can do everything that you do on your phone on the whiteboard.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. All right. Ford spoke this morning.
Yeah,
Not
and
Henry Ford, the company.
it was somewhat heavy-handed in places. The company had quite a few folks on stage, although most of them were sitting in chairs, which is sort of unusual, but whatever. A lot of emphasis on the smart city and Ford being at the forefront of fixing the cities all over the world, but particularly the U.S., of course, that the automobile industry sort of destroyed.
If everybody's not going to buy a car every few years, you got to start to figure out other marketplaces to sell your time.
Exactly. I mean, one of those things is what Ford calls the Transit Mobility Cloud, which is an open source platform it wants to partner with other companies on. That would, it was a demo that showed a couple in an autonomous transit van. They're going home from, work, let's just say. They've had a change of plans. They can use this mobility cloud to swap to a self-driving Lyft, or maybe a bike share program that could be nearby and get to their destination on time. So the idea is Ford saying, we can't do this all on our own, at least not yet. But together, we can make these cities a lot smarter. CV2X is 5G technology that Ford and Qualcomm are teaming up on. So they want to have vehicles that are linked via sensors on the road without having to have a network connection. So for example, here's another example, a driver who has a heart attack while behind the wheel. Very dangerous, right? Can get medical attention from his connected vehicle. Other cars can then be redirected around the emergency, so everybody is better off than they would be without this technology. So that's CV2X from Ford and Qualcomm. Ford also announced a partnership with an unnamed city where it's going to start testing its autonomous technology later this year. We don't know what that city is, but city, Ford is going to also partner with Postmates for delivery routes optimized in real time. So a grocery store where I want to get food from, or a restaurant, would use a self-driving vehicle to deliver my food without there having to be somebody that brings it to me. And I tell them, thank you. I will just tell the car, thank you instead. So that's Ford and Postmates. Pretty cool. And kind of surprising, I have to say, that Ford and Postmates teamed up, but
we saw a company at Launch It the other day, and I don't remember the name of the company, unfortunately, but the idea is a self-driving vehicle that brings vegetables to you. But the idea is that nobody likes to have somebody else pick out their vegetables. So it's a van that just shows up and it opens it up and there's your carrots and your broccoli and you can pick out your bananas and everything.
Oh, nice.
People went berserk over it.
So it's really like bringing the produce department to your house.
Right. Yeah. Because it's the one thing people don't like about getting stuff delivered. I mean, you getting your Charmin is fine.
Sure.
Robomart, Steve says, was the name of the company.
Robomart.
At first when you said vegetables, I was like, but why only vegetables? But it's true. It's a very personal experience. You want to touch them, and you like your carrots to look a certain way. The presser finished with kind of some audience participation. Ford kind of asked people in the audience, what are the companies that you have the most privacy issues with? Uber got a lot of answers, and it sort of ended with a whimper. But again, a lot of interesting stuff coming from Ford. I'm really interested to know what city they're going to be partnering with Postmates in. If it's already a city that Postmates operates in, which is likely, there can't be too many. There's Postmates is only in select cities as it is.
That's what you were saying.
What's that?
You're hoping it's Los Angeles.
Yeah. I don't like having to look my Postmates in the eye when I get my ramen.
Hey, thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com and at facebook.com/groups/dailytechnewsshow. Before we wrap up, I want to find out other things that you guys have seen while you've been trotting around. Allison, let's start with you. What's a cool CES pick that you don't think people are talking about enough?
Well, probably the thing I was most excited about was a product called Eargo Max. It's a hearing aid that is, well, the way I describe it is it looks like a little tiny white amoeba. It's got these little tendrils. They call them flexi fibers. And you stick it inside your ear canal and it disappears. It is not visible from the outside at all. It has a little thin, like a plastic rod that comes out of it with a little tiny knob on it. And the only purpose of that thing is so that you can grab it out of your ear and pull it out. The guy had it on the whole time I was talking to him and I did not see it.
Oh, wow.
It goes into a really beautiful, well-designed charging case. Think like AirPods where you stick it in and it charges. And they have an 18-hour charge. So he said people wear them all day long. They never take them off. And they actually had to put stickers in the box that you put on your shower to remind you to take them out before you get in the shower. Because they're so comfortable, people forget they're wearing them and they walk into the shower.
Could they do a humidity sensor that just alerts you? Like beeps?
Beep, beep. Yeah, actually, that's not a bad idea. I like it. And then the case itself is something like 4 or 5 days. I forget exactly what it was, but it was a beautiful design. They're about $2,000, $2,100, something like that, which he said was half the price of regular hearing aids. I think that's closer to regular hearing aid
More like
price.
the price of
the lower end
end,
ones.
Yeah.
I think so. It doesn't do any crazy Bluetooth, play stuff from your phone or.
That's okay.
Yeah, and it's specifically for age-related hearing loss, not specific, disease problems or anything like that. It's just for the stuff we're getting old. We're all going to want them. So I thought it was really cool. And the company is eargo.com, EARGO.com.
Patrick, what about you?
Okay, so I'm still obsessing over something that Dell talked about in their event this morning, which is not the Dell XPS 13. We did a video about that last week. But they started a recycling program where they're recycling motherboards. And they said like a ton of motherboards contains 800 times more gold than the average ton of ore that you extract gold from.
Oh, wow.
There's a gold mine in them there Dells.
It gets even better, right? So they are extracting gold. There's a Dell XPS motherboard that's going to be using the recycled gold coming out, and they realize they're extracting more gold from refuse than they can actually use in their production process currently. So they announced a deal with Nikki Reed, who's creating jewelry out of the gold that's been recycled, and they talked about how much it was really crazy. They say something in the neighborhood of $60 million in gold and silver is thrown away in tech every year. Like goes, people throw away a phone, it goes into a landfill, and combined, there's just a staggering amount of metals. And they talk about basically there's a finite amount of metal in the ground. There's a number of people that's increasing, and they think it's smarter and smarter to figure out how to create a closed loop. And they've been doing that with a couple of different product lines to try to figure out how they can recover more material.
And it's just not cost effective to mine landfills yet.
Now, Patrick, if you took a motherboard, melted down the gold, made jewelry out of it, made a tongue ring, could you say Intel inside?
Absolutely. Or you could just
I had to
swallow.
work for that one.
You just saw off a chunk of a chip and swallow it. But it's like, it's the crew at iFixit talks about this stuff a lot, but like 15% of the electronics in the United States are recycled. A ton of the electronics that gets recycled actually gets sent to India or China and is basically melted in the open street to extract the ores from it. I mean, or the metal from it. There's a lot of opportunity to keep stuff out of the ground at that point and out of the air.
They just figured this out.
They've been working on it for years. I think the volume at this point is big enough that they just wanted to tell the whole world about it.
Nice.
So.
All right, let's finish up the show with something out of the mailbag, Sarah.
Let's do it. Well, this is in reference to us talking about the Samsung The Wall, the modular television or screen, whatever you want to call it, from yesterday. And this, Chris says, modular video walls have been around for a few years, mostly used for event centers, concerts. My uncle's company rents AV equipment and just got one of these this year. Basically, each panel connects together. Doesn't matter which panel you connect where or how many you have. I'm not sure if you need a device to drive to the display or if you could just set them up as mutable displays. And I couldn't see a seam when it was turned on, but I was some distance from it at the time.
No, it's a really good metaphor for explaining what Samsung's doing. It's like those big scoreboard, Jumbotron type systems where you can kind of see the LEDs, except these are micro LEDs. So theoretically, you can't see them. Now, you went over and took a look at it, right?
Yeah, in fact, the Samsung booth is not far from us, and the wall is only one part of it. They have a huge booth, but you can get right up close to it. Now, they've got some Samsung folks sort of standing in front of it, barking at people.
They don't want you to get too close.
They don't want you to get too close, and there's like 100 people with cameras, myself included, and they're like, no zooming. It's like, how are you gonna even police this? But okay, but the display is beautiful. And it's sort of cycling between a variety of images, kind of some artwork and sort of a fake fire and then some snow falling. And I didn't see one seam, and I was pretty close. It's beautiful.
No zooming, so you just walked up real close. And
Well, we could, we're already standing quite close.
No, there's a very intense-looking person keeping you from getting too close. So.
Yeah, he was a humorless man.
I saw a quadcopter last year with a big sticker on the front of it says "No photography." Why are you here?
Yeah.
It's complicated.
It's trade secrets. It's usually a trade secret.
I guess I showed him my badge and he said, "Oh, okay."
That was our best guess for Samsung, is that they don't want you to see exactly how micro LEDs are arranged.
On the product they hope to eventually ship to.
Once it ships, right? But
I'd love to know more about how the modular display gets bigger and smaller, because it's like you can't just like take a corner out of a rectangular television and be like, I took a module out, still works.
Yeah,
you kind of have to take out a certain
what
are how are they sized, and
how does it tell where to put the picture if a piece is missing?
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm sure there's TBD on that.
Excellent.
Yeah, I want to see the back of it.
That too.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is it for day 2, or our second show anyway, at CES. So let's thank our guests, shall we?
Thank you, Allison.
Thank you, Sarah. That was from the heart.
What's happened to me?
It's from the heart.
God, it's like I'm here for the first
It's really great to be here from
time.
CES Las Vegas. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow for extended Daily Tech News Show coverage. And
Oh,
remember,
we're not there
Patreon.
yet. Oh, we got to thank Allison for real.
Allison, tell us, besides being here at CES and having a good time, where folks can keep up with everything that you do.
The best place to go is podfeet.com, and follow me on Twitter at podfeet.
Very good. Patrick Norton,
Yo.
what about you? What are you up to these days?
TEKTHING.com with Shannon, who I think is going to be here tomorrow. And I do a home theater and audio podcast with Robert Herring called AV Excel. And we will be having large conversations about the television situation at CES in our next episode.
All righty. Thanks to everybody who supports us on Patreon. The whole reason we're here is because you guys are supporting us at patreon.com/DTNS. So if you like that we're doing this kind of stuff, let us know and keep up the support. Also, if you're in Las Vegas or unincorporated Clark County today, you can come meet us at the MGM Grand. If you see this before 8 p.m. in the evening, it's Tuesday, January 9th when I'm saying this.
Pacific time.
Come to the MGM Grand Level Up Arcade and Bar for the Daily Tech News Show Tech Thing combined meetup.
Oh,
So you're going to be there at 8 p.m. and then you're going to mystically disappear.
Cast combined meetup.
Woo! So 8 p.m. till 11 p.m. or knowing us, God knows how late.
Yeah, no reservation needed. Just show up. And
It's an arcade
say
too,
hello.
so it's like if you come and you're like, you know, I don't like you guys all that much, you can just play some pinball.
yeah, and we'll never know. We're like, oh, that person's really
Yeah, it
into pinball.
just seems like it belongs there. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Keep the feedback coming. We always like to know what you like and don't like, and you help make us smarter. We are live from Monday through Friday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 21:30 UTC at both alphageekradio.com and diamondclub.tv, and our website is dailytechnewsshow.com.
We will be back tomorrow with Shannon Morse, Bill Detweiler, and possibly somebody from CES to talk to us. We will talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
And we're done.
Oh, there we go. Well, I have a complaint about CES, you guys. I do not get enough exercise here. I have a lot of problems.
Wait, you don't get enough exercise?
Yeah,
we were
my
told not to complain about our feet hurting, but you're saying your feet don't hurt enough?
Not at all. I did not finish my activity ring yesterday. I mean, this is ridiculous. I got like 12,000 steps yesterday, walked 5.5 miles.
sorry, CES has.
How many miles do you normally walk a day?
About 9 miles a day, about 19,000
I have
steps.
no idea how many steps I walk a day.
I mean, come on. I got a lot of stands. I'll give them that. It's a lot of standing around.
I did
There's
not.
a lot of walking.
I did not close my exercise ring yesterday
See, this
either.
point-
So
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
it's not the right kind of moving around.
I've walked at least 3 miles today because I went from the parking lot to the first thing and then walked to the second thing.
Do you have any evidence of this? Do you have a
No.
Fitbit? Well, then how can we possibly believe?
Well,
you,
I
Patrick?
believe him because I
can show
watched.
you where my truck is parked.
I walked 2.62 miles, so I could believe he's done 3.
Yeah.
But I mean, come on, that's terrible. I mean, look at this. It didn't even fill up my rings.
You closed your exercise
I
goal.
want to hug you because I
Yeah,
want
but
to
that's
be you
30
when I grow
minutes. How
up.
hard is 30
I
minutes?
I closed my move goal, but not my
now
exercise.
what's your move goal?
I don't know. I'd have to look.
That's probably 200. You big pansy.
It's 110.
110.
My wife discovered she wouldn't wake up at 5:30 to run herself, but she'll wake up at 5:30 to walk the dog 3 miles
Oh,
every
there you
day.
go.
So,
Hey, whatever it takes, right?
we're going to Point Reyes on New Year's Eve, and instead we went to adopt a dog and brought a dog back and never made it to Point Reyes.
Yay.
So,
What dog did you get?
a mutt.
Mutt? Nice.
That's
a
like
good-
a husky.
Gorgeous looking too.
She's really pretty. She's we call her Lupin, for Professor Lupin. She's a husky shepherd mix.
Oh, nice.
Always the best shepherd mixes.
I'm a fan. I like the dogs.
We went out to get something to eat at the the LA market. What's that downtown market? And we came home with Ray the dog.
Central Market.
Yeah, the LA Central Market. We came home with Ray the dog. So there you go. It happens.
Yep. I thought you go out and you pick a dog, but it turns out they say they pick you.
Yeah.
Totally happened.
Yeah. That's what happened with Tesla, right?
We went out and picked out a very specific dog, online video, and this dog looked at us and turned around and walked back into
It's
the
like,
kennel.
Oh,
She said, "No, And this other dog was like, no, pick me.
There she is.
Oh my gosh. Oh, she's beautiful.
Oh, I love the eyes.
What's a puppy?
What a cutie.
It's DTNS show about that.
Oh, there's a new
Levelator.
I noticed when you launched Audacity, it gave you an error. Are you getting an error that says it can't open it, and then you just say okay, and it opens it?
No, it didn't. I've not launched it, so whatever you saw was not
Okay.
what you're talking about. But I had another laptop that was doing exactly what you're saying, and it always worked. But it told me I couldn't open it.
Always
while
says
I was
I
opening
can't do it.
Yeah.
And it says okay, I do it.
Titles?
Yeah.
We
What do you
got
want to
it.
call this?
Stay one, don't get cocky. No one. How do you say sit in Japanese? 180-degree VR's no monkey on my back.
Can't
No
hear
one
Roger
looks
as well
behind
as we did.
anyway.
She's
Ford's
tired and wants
mates,
to go home.
self-driving deliveries. Nothing. Wall-to-wall CES coverage. A subscription Robo Dog. Okay. Samsung
Borderline
sees the
normie.
flip side.
Same as yesterday. You guys pick it. Just tell me. I'm going to keep working.
We built a city with tech that rolls.
What is the rolling tech? Oh,
cars.
got it. Tech that rolls.
because it's Ford,
And
the
it's,
smart city, and the car.
yeah.
I do like how do you say sit in Japanese though?
No zooming allowed.
Ah, actually, the word sit in Japanese is coming on strong as a potential title. That's it right there. Zoe said we were supposed to give somebody else credit for it though. Who was it? Nick with a C.
Okay, what are you talking about?
An 18-degree video. I wasn't sure if I should point that
It was
out, but I
cold
really
out that
confused. I was
day.
going,
How
wow,
do you
this
say
is-
sit in
I
Japanese?
tried to just play it off like I messed up, but you guys were like, no, it said it in the doc. I'm like, we're not reading. This is just information we have in our brain.
Always. I didn't know that. I
No,
broke
no,
the
no, it's
third wall.
totally fine, totally fine. No, it's like I was like, I'll take the hit on this one. 18.
Oops.
Right. So how do you say
I said
sit?
something to the other day that
Megan, how do you
somebody had
say
to
sit
correct me on. It
Japanese?
was just like
Oh,
very
I
wrong.
said 2016 and not 2018, but I figured people know those.
No, this was
No, today you did. But it was
no, it was something totally different. It was like I
How do you
inserted someone's
retarded.
name when I
It says how do you
somebody else's. Yeah, it was
How do you
just
say sit in Japanese?
Yes.
appears to be the consensus. Well, that was fun.
we're gonna get a lot of emails about how you say sit in Japanese, and I thank you in advance.
Can you put Japanese characters in the title in WordPress?
No. Yes. No.
You can't in Showbot though.
So what's CYA? Is that like SIA? Or is that a currency?
Cover your something?
Wait a minute. Don't warranty on cover your assets. Ah, clever.
It's some sort of Bitcoin thing, right?
Yeah, someone's dressed in a Zentai suit.
Oh, it's stuck on the
Just-
wall
you
view, so
just
they couldn't
never
see
know.
Patrick's picture of his dog. The live stream is showing the wall view,
Oh, I'm sorry.
so they want to see the dog.
All right,
Back
hold
by
on.
popular
hold on.
demand. Actually, Steve can bring it all the way up there. Steve can hold it up there.
Well, it's not that tall.
No, out the end of the front.
Oh.
How's it look, Roger?
Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Everyone say stop talking so I can.
Can't see because we're talking.
Yes. Okay, now they can see it. Look.
Not that close.
Our pocket dial.
Right there. Perfect. That dog has made a fresh kill of Patrick's son.
Steve almost got in the video. His arm got in the video. Good job, Steve. He's a hand model.
Oh, well, my wife's a big Game of Thrones fan, and then at this point also she's read the entire series like 3 times because she would read it when she was nursing the kids
Oh,
because it was on her phone. So
Yeah.
she just went through it. I was like, even volume 5. She's like, even volume 5. I'm like, oh god, I will never read that book again.
Hey, Steve, you should ask Patrick about the 60 hertz thing.
On the app.
with the Apple TV and the Sony and the receiver? Maybe
Yes.
when we're done here, we should go ask that question.
I use
bet you
Apple
would
TV
know.
mostly. I use Roku and several other things sitting in the closet that I've been running video through or using as a DAC. But
We've got one thing we can't get working on 4K that we're
really,
I guess I can set it up. So we've got a 4K Apple TV hooked up to a Sony the 1080, the new receiver, the new 4K receiver,
right.
and then to the XBR 55 AE, whatever it is.
I'm gonna watch movies at your house.
Yeah, I know, right? But the Apple TV has a 60 hertz mode, and if we go straight from the Apple TV into the TV over HDMI, it'll go 60 hertz. But
Right.
if we do it through the Sony receiver, we can't. We've done a lot of.
Has there been a firmware? Has there been any firmware updates for the Sony TV?
Has there been a firmware update for the Sony TV, Steve? Not that we're aware of. Actually, we turned off Android talking to the internet as soon as possible when we got the TV. So we'd have to go turn it on and then let it.
I would check
come
for
back.
updates on the TV. I would check for updates on the receiver too.
But the TV directly can do it.
Mhm.
Right from the Apple TV.
Probably the
but it might
receiver is probably the
handshake
problem.
receiver.
Yeah,
The receiver might need a firmware update. Yeah.
that's the first place I check is the receiver.
We did
'cause
a lot of switch flipping.
Oh, I'm familiar with
So
the
many-
lifestyle.
So many.
How did you fix
variables.
that? Well, I've dumped 9 hours of my life into meticulously going through every possible option
And
until
not
one of them.
documenting it.
Will make me start bursting into tears. But yeah, I mean, I would check for firmware updates for the receiver, and this also might
That
be a
should
wonderful
work.
opportunity to. It's a Sony AVR.
Uh-huh.
It just so happens a giant booth full of Sony people. I might wander over and see if you get, because when you're really, 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 really lucky, the product manager has been rotated into booth duty. Those are
Oh,
my
really? Like they
favorite
punish
days.
them?
No, or because they're giving somebody a break or something.
Ah.
Or because they're a control freak and no one else can talk about their product. It doesn't matter.
That would
But if
be
you
nice.
if you get the product manager, you tend to get at least temporarily an elevated level of service, or oftentimes really blunt, honest answers about what's going on.
Right, because it's not filtered through marketing.
Yeah, or
That's
it's
actually
so
not a bad
evasive that
idea.
the problem is that they can't fix it and they don't want to admit it. But that's I mean, they're here,
We've
you're
done the whole
here,
chain together. We've done it right. We gave them all of our money.
right?
So
Perfect.
It should work.
One would think.
One would think, right? I was a little bit angry. I'm not gonna lie about HTCP 2.2 requiring me to get a brand new receiver when my Sony receiver was 4 years old. That was just copy protection made me spend $400.
Well,
Come
because you can't be trusted.
on. Exactly.
How many copies were you licensed for, and in what formats? It's the law, Allison.
I'm sorry. I did have 30 seconds of fame. I was at All Things D many years ago, and when Steve Jobs was there, and I got up and I asked him. I said, "Can you explain to me why I bought I bought this iPad from you,
Right.
and I bought this adapter here from you, and I bought the movie Up essentially from you, and then I plug it into a projector and I can't play it. Can you explain to me how high definition copy protection is helping in the anti-piracy effort?"
The HTCB, yeah,
It's really ironic. The best thing he said.
Well, you
was,
weren't licensed for that second screen. It's for display on the iPad only within the iTunes
maybe
universe.
that's it.
Was it before the Apple TV came out?
Yeah. This is a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
The last thing, the one thing he said that we really liked was he just said, "I feel your pain."
It's funny because it's
but I
like-
bought all this from
it's
you.
like,
This is- I mean, it was a Disney
they-
film that I used
yeah.
as my example. He said, "It's all you."
I'm gonna try that line.
And he said,
We've been having difficulties with the RSS feed in your podcast all the time. I feel your
I mean, to be
pain.
fair,
Yeah,
we've never done
it
a-
really,
like,
really
we're about
helped.
to be live, please,
I enjoyed it.
All right, I know.
Oh my
What do you
goodness.
want to do? Talk about this guy? Yeah, it was funny when he we have a gentleman up here who every once in a while just yells something from the balcony above us. Oh, okay. Yeah, our tower's lower than their tower.
There's a Walmart.
Yet our tower is proud. It's a proud tower.
Oozle the strength of the base of the pillar.
Oh, Ethan Kane says, "Did you subscribe to their continued 60 hertz service plan?" That's
Oh
nice.
right, yeah, you didn't
No, that's
sign
to
up for that.
actually get the 60 hertz video streaming
Yeah,
from Comcast.
yeah, right.
All right, so the show's published. This has been delightful.
This has been delightful.
I hope it's been fun for
We
you.
should go get beers tonight.
It was
We
my
should.
pleasure.
Bourbon
Yeah.
or something.
Maybe at the MGM.
I get coffee.
We could go to the MGM.
Yeah, let's do that.
There's
I love
a
that.
cool place in there. They've got
There's an arcade in there, I understand.
the Level
Really?
Up Lounge.
Well, I
Excellent.
think,
All right.
you
Any
like
last
pinball,
plugs
right?
before I shut off the stream?
What's that?
You like pinball, right?
I
Recycle
do.
your electronics
Yes, I'm
properly.
very fond of pinball. It's really the only arcade game I ever
Call your
got into.
mother.
She will
All right.
be just playing pinball.
Everyone, wave at the
Yeah, I'll be
camera.
like, bye.